Hi everyone, I'm Brandon West. Again here at the MGM Grand, where currently we have the reInvent Hackathon for Social Good going on with about 180 participants behind us. We've had about 30 or so launches in the last 2 days. It's really hard to keep up. There's just a lot of really cool things being announced. I want to quickly tell you about 6 of my favorite things that have launched so far here at reInvent 2018. The first one is the Aws Amplified Console. So if you're not familiar with Aws Amplify, it's a framework for modern web app development that really makes it easy to provision back-end services and connect them to your application. So if you need to create an AWS API gateway so that people can interact with your app via the API, or maybe you want to use Amazon Cognito for authentication, it makes it really, really easy to do that. The Aws Amplified Console adds continuous deployment and hosting for these modern web applications. So you can integrate with GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, or AWS Code Commit. And so if you're building a web application that uses React, Angular, Vue.js, Ionic, or Ember, really any modern web framework, this makes it really, really easy to add continuous deploy and hosting. So when you commit a change to your Git repo, Aws Amplified Console will detect that change, automatically build it, and deploy your changes for both the back end and the front end, which is really, really cool. One of my other favorite services that we've launched so far is Firecracker. Firecracker is like micro virtual machines, kernel-based virtual machines. They are already battle tested. They power AWS Lambda and they power Fargate. This is really, really a cool technology that improves performance. You can get cold start times as low as 125 milliseconds, and it's great for security because there's no BIOS, there's very limited attack vectors. Another one of my favorites that we announced today is Robo Maker, which is a collection of tools for building robotics applications. There's an integrated development environment based on Cloud9 for building robotics applications. There's extensions for the robot operating system, which is the most widely used robot creation toolkit, and allows you to easily connect the things you build in ROS to AWS. For example, take video you're capturing on a robot and pipe it to a Kinesis video stream. Also, you can do virtual world simulation. So if you're building a robot that brings you a cup of coffee, you can simulate that in a 3D environment and then apply it to the real world, and hopefully the robot will actually bring you a cup of coffee. We have a new Ec2 Instance type, which is the C5N, which provides 100 gigabit of bandwidth, which is a lot of bandwidth. I'm trying to think of use cases for that, and I can't think of anything I could build that would need 100 gigabits of bandwidth. We have another type of Ec2 instance, which is the A1 set of instances. These are built on custom designed silicon that we built in-house. They're ARM-based processors, and these are really, really cool because you can reduce your Ec2 instance cost by up to 45% by using these ARM-based processors. Finally, we have AWS Ground Station, which is really, really cool. It lets you take data from space and put it in the cloud. We have thousands of orbiting satellites. Currently, companies that want to collect data from these satellites have to build ground stations themselves. These can cost up to $1 million per ground station, and it's just a lot of capital expense and overhead to maintain them. We're starting out with 2 AWS-powered ground stations, and we'll be expanding that up to 12 by mid-2019. So that's just 6 of some of the awesome things we've launched so far. We haven't even really got to the good stuff yet, which will be coming tomorrow during Andy Jassy's keynote from 8 to 11 a.m., and then Thursday at Werner Vogel's keynote from 8:30 to 10:30 a.m. So I'm really, really excited. We've got robots, we've got space, we've got new custom-designed processors, all kinds of fun things for developers to jump in and start playing around with on AWS. So make sure you tune in to Andy's keynote and to Werner's keynote. I know there's a lot of things that are being announced. You can check out the What's New feed on the Amazon blog to keep up with some of these new announcements. And thank you very much for joining. I hope that you find some of these new services and features as cool as I do. See you soon.